Rola Benjere Sanje Do Parashu Sanjaya Deva Dan Devi Yudan Tempa Yuji Sanjaya Damje Donga Dan Donga Ye Yudan Deva Yuji Sanjaya Damje Donga Mebe Deva Dan Minda Hora Yuji Sanjaya Damje Nire Chada Nidan Dave Dan Yamba Deva Yuru Sanjaya Damje Deva Dan Devi Yudan Tempa Yuji Sanjaya Damje Donga Dan Donga Ye Yudan Deva Yuji Sanjaya Damje Donga Mebe Deva Dan Minda Hora Yuji Sanjaya Damje Nire Chada Nidan Dave Dan Yamba Deva Yuru Sanjaya Damje Deva Dan Devi Yudan Tempa Yuji Sanjaya Damje Donga Dan Donga Ye Yudan Dava Yuji Sanjaya Damje Donga Mebe Deva Midawara Yuji Sanjaya Damje Nire Chada Nidan Dave Danyala Devara Yuji Kange Tenzin Dewa Junga Aba Meba Yemeba Cheba Meba Tameba Uwa Meba Dumeba Tade Tumin Tuji Men Tuba Yeshi Shidemba Zobe Sanye Manwa Amba Tela Chaze Shiva Zanam Gunje Nige Nije Tinze Gaye Dan Dola Pembara Cheno Lashi Nige Jiden Tundro Nzeba Ganda Yanda Tempe Dona Napa Kunde Nazo Desomba Nyendu Chancho Sebe Soche Sanje Jini Yumtela Chate Lo Obe Dawa Namse Je Sabje Yaje Gunga Wa Gundo Sambe Vezere Da Kunde Chola Chase Lo Taji Bege Joje Medo Dawa Reba Leje Nide Yembo Sanje Shingo Mide Owai Jogue Nanda Shinla Cheba Etamang Guru Mandala Gani Yata Yai Until enlightenment, I go to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the accumulation of the practices of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Until enlightenment, I go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the accumulation of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit of all sentient beings. Until enlightenment, I go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the accumulation of the practices of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit of all sentient beings. May all sentient beings be endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings never be separated from joyfulness. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. May all sentient beings be endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings never be separated from joyful bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. May all sentient beings be endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings never be separated from joyful bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. Independent origination, there is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness, and no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, the one who taught us this peace, which is free of elaborations. I prostrate to the supreme mother of hearers and bodhisattvas, who through the noble obeisance leads hearers seeking pacification to complete peace. who through the noble paths causes those benefiting migrators to achieve the aims of the world, and who through possession of the exalted noble, the subduer set forth the varieties having all aspect. The one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and profound, who eternally shall forth forever noble light rays. To you, Buddha, I make prostrations. His ground spread with incense, adorned with strewn flowers, Mount Meru, the four continents, the sun and the moon, I imagine as a Buddha land, and by offering it to you, may all living beings enjoy this pure land. Thus meeting the teaching of the peerless teacher is due to the spiritual mentor's kindness. I dedicate this virtue for all beings to be cared for by their excellent spiritual friends.
Yeah, 다들인 옴 이거든 저러 가서 다 옴 잡다잖아. 되지야,
Reminde, harsa şimdi mare. Semseri ranşı reminde.
아,
Semseri ranşı reminde.
심설이제들
Geshe de şişin deringe büyü sedan da de inci sedan. Geshe
예?
kom de şemi.
그래. 내가 옴데
Kom de şişin deri. shumade semseri transhisusindiro.
Yeah.
Gomti ko shuktrema.
I'm sorry, take me to the
Keshila der ngenim ko ze shugul subji ge de yate che me tamen.
what he said. Sit down, not the use. Sit down, Sabu make and do.
De.
Then you think it's someone just one.
Ade.
Engine on the Tedona, Tim Mingus. That is your
Yevetari shirtari.
minister nature of my door engine on the
Kemal geshitishin komditishin and chumade semseri session dir.
teacher shower.
Se
Then engine on the home. You make a near. Someone near achievement.
chingir.
And they need on the home. Someone need us.
De hada ngetanda keshila da dinge tichish.
Home you turn the lodge on the edge to watch the
De ni yor te chushugor ni do. Kan lo jushin.
That you do. That is a home shed on the home. The Chidang in Nambi June home. Chaptan de la Taviki home. The long number ni, one knees or to be there. Chegom there, Chitan Jogom there, chi. Ni over it. Tatilla Nasi to my Chevayna, Taco. Omzul unit Tony Chevena, Ta Omzuminda Mambushi over it. Conda Indian Jajabi to Tatavena. Omzul 2 in the cheese on the other. That is a moachi. And then Tao Jogom and Jogom ni Yuvinani, Tantangazu Kausuba Jua, Juadi, Tanda Jangoji Chabi Dinala, so Jogom de Sonchando, Jogom Gimutas and Jogom Nada, Zenanda, Shine Zenanda, and Zangita Atsugi di Kare. Temanya Zetra, Temanya Homzana, Achibare. The Temanya Homes at the number Juni Chepe, Temanya Home Tanda, that and do Taji Zabuling, Kaukasala Chap de Yogi, Cabell Dami Mabuta, Tonanche Saki Temanya Zati, Parola, those Cabariore, those Cabario, the Bechere. The China Temanya home de la Kuchinang to move home. Chade, Chirobi, Chirobi to the Nalone, Temanya from the Sungore, Nambesa to Nane Sungore, Tanaji Nambasa to the Nalola to the Kongi Chaber, Yore. To the Kon on a Tejim Nalola Sajabina, Chin Dodangaki Chaber to Chi Temanya Humda and Chabermida, Tejim Nalola in Aya, Chin Dodanga Nigela. Of the Midam which is Gora. That in and it's all that under Temanya home, Shedola, net under Juati, and Dordi Dabaji, that in Imagine Nazareti. That home being all, home giving was and was a chick, and it jellies a chick, and it Kogi, Dibu, home Janin, Topjakari, Dibu Kari Tobu is a chick. And then on Yamduta, home Yabatella, and Galjan. Karikari Yongundo, and a call a Tunjang cho Karikari Tobu, Tunjang Karela Tango, take it on notice Juati Juayin, and a Chabidina, Tanda Jamormiche Sunshayo Chabidina Lola Tara, and it's all take it all on good Tamanya Jagomela, go Galtin Jingo Selgo, Tunjang and Epe, Temba the Shishin Tango. She go out the home gita Martha Chade. Or the interchange, so you Tendeta Tolan. The rob to Jingo Tembada Chingoni Kare Gonziana, and the Tembada Shishin Kare is a thing when they are the Tolamoda to Sushi. The
Earlier, we were talking about the topic for today's session. I think in the announcement we have, luminous nature of the mind in English that you have. And earlier when I was making, first I have a, old copy in Tibetan. It looks like Geshe was looking at the old copy. So he thought today was meditation. So we'll go along with his, his chosen one. And then next week we will have luminosity, luminous nature of the mind. So today we'll do, our topic will be meditation. Excuse me. Generally in Buddhism, when we talk about meditation, we talk usually of two kinds or two types, meditation of placement or single-pointedness and meditation of analysis, analytical meditation. And two common types. But in terms of how to do meditation, the implementation practice itself, then there are many different types of meditations, ways of doing meditation. In the text by Kunken Javan Sheba, text on tenets or philosophy, root text of philosophy, he talks about 6 different ways of doing meditation. And we won't be going into those today. And in this book, His Holiness talks about those 2 types of meditation, analytical and meditation of placement or concentration. And so meditation of placement, calm abiding meditation, mindfulness meditation, usually these are all kind of refer to the same thing, single-pointed meditation. And however, there's a differences between kind of modern mindfulness and mindfulness practice meditation in Buddhism. Again, in general, this meditation of concentration or calm abiding mindfulness is considered as something common to both Buddhist as well as non-Buddhist school. And but within the Buddhist school of thoughts or different philosophical schools, there are differences of doing this same meditation in terms of within the 4 philosophical schools, 4 tenets. And within the Mahayana Vehicle, different ways of doing, say in Sutrayana, Sutra system, and Vajrayana, different ways of doing meditation. So for this session, we will go briefly, onto this topic. First, nature of the meditation. And then second, the function of meditation. Third, consequences or result of meditation. And then we will talk briefly about obstacles or hindrances of meditation, as well as, contributing positive factors of the meditation. We'll go kind of briefly introduce to these, parts. And in the book also, His Holiness talks about, while explaining, mindfulness, primary obstacles being mental dullness and agitation, or mental laxity and excitement, two different translation. And for positive factor or positive condition, introspection and mindfulness and introspection. So we will briefly introduce these entities of the meditation.
지금 올라다 토당부대다 옴진 오셰용도라 아니 지르무치게 람림되던 나라 삼전선 라왕 유결보대 자나요메 리오모진 당나게 미바콘란주 무슨 레소르베 되전는진 도스 송요래 어떻게 가르sun고래잖아 옴기 오 아니 옴기 제레 네 곰긴 디부 대송거래 다 삼전선 라왕유 잘포테에 되나 곰긴 오 되세요래 곰 영어 가래잖아 아니 삼전선 라왕유 잘포테 자나 요메 리용부 자나 요메 리용부 진제들 삼전기 셈다 셈데라 아니 셈디 마루메 셈데다 툴니 의미 발도 좀 곰버체 바이나 아니 리용부네 진골주야 다 도즈마 네토바지 조토고레스 용토고 요레스 아니 땅나게 미바콜라 주 제도 Tana giving me back college city. The interview same data giving me back cho tamja lutuma give it chokita, me back Mambuji Tolata, Tambu Semi to Lojani, and they chisu, Tam Miba Genda Gendikitan, Chetam Jakin to my Putu days. Tana giving me back jelly. Lusam Lesur with the gentence, then Dibu Karesana, and Negab in Dibuta, G. Luishin Jang, Sam Jangi, and the Watchamo Tovedan, Tartu, Sayi Kobang to Zuma, Tovate, Homelating. Tengu yoba, Homla never to Tengu yoba, Homla Teni, Tadu Sanji to Tobu yoba de Tuzma, Sungure. Tacheza Techitola, Hom Zitolata, Savigi, Lo, Harzorta, Combar Cheba, Lo Coms, Homs at the Com Lola Comdita. Yamana Lola Jondar, Jondar Zanamido, Com Bezenjene, Givi Chola, Lode. Tanangara jo namcha kindu samle nala che ngamam shushu kita bezo lalte mego khord de gitu chakang mang che de chi mege bi cho kyang kyang mege cho de shu chum yo ba che te ge bi cho de hajang gi chi semla khora ina kwambo ne te yang pe nyung nyung cham cham de siba zo de bi mo to yong go ma ra te meyo de gare na mege bi cho la hajang gi ta 공부 최소화 돼 있는지 다 지금 저라고 돈만 매반이지 요 돈만 매반이 다 매기위 줘들 공부 최소화 돼 있는지 다 연구를 다 된다에 아주 샘데다 고 예비 미발라 때네 tello condizioni ne jondar cene bezol cene ane yevi mibaji do ne to yalla te jondar tamasona bezol cheba yena ne yevi mibale tiju to ne to yagi te yongu yores 제가 된대지다 영어를 제바 telata 곰즈 yor 다 곰즈 되게 te 제바 yena 다 케벤 가래 요레스 들라 가르저거다 te 유미발로 고마르 제바나 케벤 가래 요레스 바나 토담부 사람이도 직다 말한도 다 샘지 시보지다 투데베가도 가돌레임바 이난다도 아니 샘 마히바 수정부진데 용의 갑둘라 곰진 야바이나 다이징기 샘데 링자 도야 샘데 지위간도 네토야 지원 네토야 샘데 지와지 네소나 데이팅 이켄진에다지 루부대양지 지징도와 파페보 양보 제보용 직차고래 된고 곰예네 평연자님도 곰잡을때니 개발되는 중고래 근데 다가 내진기 ene semde miba karigi choja komba yena sem miba kangla teba ene te thola ene pe yunombo jine ko tempo ne to yaji chagiyore te ne bategi karesana ngazo ge miba la teba ene ge miba sem ge miba la tene ge chodela chi yurondo ne to ya ane 남중기 지dengi 자와 간디답지나 자와 간라이 고 간디답진 바이나 텔라 소소기 다 샘데 때바이나 자와데 제야라 지 가나나 토나 요아지 단 아니 자와데 제야라지 지 칼로 진이 민데 바당지 ngalwa me badinde miyoala kebaring gore 되게 생도분이 옴게 되게 이게 에버치 작거래
Beginning with the nature of the meditation, this quote from Tsongkhapa's Songs of Spiritual Experience or Condensed Sages of the Path, and it's verse 31. Concentration is the king that reigns over the mind. When left, it is as unwavering as the king of mountains. when set forth, it engages with all objects of virtue. It induces the great bliss of a serviceable body and mind. So this verse from Tsongkhapa's condensed stages of the path, um, you know, expresses the nature of the meditation as well as its function and the result. First, the nature of the meditation, or in this case here, the concentration. When you are able to gain concentration or able to have the ability to single-pointedly concentrate, on particular things, or gain kind of concentration, which means kind of able to have a control over your mind, and with that able to kind of keep your mind away from all kind of destructive, negative, nature. And when you're able to gain that concentration, then it is like the king that reigns over the mind. You have with that reigning of the mind over the mind, you have a stability. As the king of mountains, unwavering as the king of the mountains. And talks about the function. When set forth, it engages with all objects of virtue. When you want to use it for virtuous objects of observation or focal object, then you can do it very kind of easily, engaging in virtuous object or creating virtuous activity. And as a result of such kind of ability, of the mind or concentration, the last sentence talks about consequences result. It induces the great bliss of a serviceable body and mind. You have the ability to put into service, both body and mind as you wish. You can gain that ability, and usually our kind of default or natural state of mind is that we are so much used to or familiar, to destructive, negative, nature of the mind, non-virtuous nature of the mind, and therefore we kind of automatically, naturally, kind of follow and comes under the power of negative mind. And having a positive thought is very rare, very rare. And however, through effort, through practice of concentration, we can come to the point where we can single-pointedly focus only on virtuous mind. And so as a result, the consequences of such ability of attaining, stability of the mind, as well as to kind of focus wherever you want or you wish, serviceable body and mind, especially during the time of problem difficulties. With this power ability, you can have a very relaxing, peaceful, calming mind. And with that, sort of power of the mind, you can have then impact on the body too. So therefore, physically more healthy, more happy, more calmness, and as said earlier, set forth and engage all objects of virtue. And whenever you want to engage in the practice of focusing on a virtuous object of observation, you can do that easily for a very long period of time. And in ordinary mundane sense as well, in ordinary activities, when you do, if you have this, practice of meditation, it will bring you a joy, a great interest, without any kind of difficulty.
Tata Najingi and its Sanji to Tembazigor. A home like the Sanji to Tembaji. Jetugres. They Totanka is a vina. Tangazu Gomi Mibatella, Chi Mibatella, and Tambo home Toma home jagging that let them bow at the winner. Tabijimbaina. Ta home Jayagi, that Chi Mibatella, and Sanji Kundaji, the Nejavaina Yaboyores Mundar. Lamagoma Tesuge, Injimiji Sanji Kundaji Jagore, they are any Kundatis. Miba, Salboyo, and Hajangi Chimbu Maimbayan, Hajangi Chunju Maimba, and Timbala Ilchogotabo. Chiambo Maimbayan, Unda de Anchi Yambuji, Shunajin, Lunajin to Stena, Miba Temple de Ali, Chunchigore, Ilchogotabo, but take me but de Ali, co the Yaboyo, isn't it? Miba, the name Sanji Kunda, the name Miba Jani, that's Sanji. Ye ta Husung to Yonten to Tusma, Yabala then to temperature by Nayan, Taylor Temba Tempoji, Omdi Damasona, Chasona, Razingi, and Gale, Namjinata, Carzo, Kevin Carion Gorzana, Aranzo Shivi Negamna, Shiga Lamatella, and Ranshugi, Shiga Uchagalam, Uchaga de Balani, one like so comba Yabategi. Yen Jenny, Tindigi Ucheka Lamatelachi, Sanji Kuzun to Yondan Tiala so big, that gave Chavatilla rising Kuran, Namachuko, Temba de Letugores. They led to Vayana Kari or Resavana, Sijimatella, Kiwajimatella, Chidan Lake and Kiwajima de Kandiji Lamanazade, that Lele Legis on down in Dogu Yorete, Shigi Semdia, Kiwajimatella. Chisamjiora, Chisamdilla, Chisamdigi, Kiwajima, the Kandiji Lamala, Shibujia, the Temba of Chad, Tendaba of Chadior. Shiga Lamatala, SMG want to Kurtuba Yimbayina, and Kiwajima de Lane, Chi Wata, Chi David Zendo Manduin, Zendo Kopanji, Mandu Ladami Kopan Karuji, Toy Imbati, Yaja Gupchu Masona. Con Denzo, never your resti, Lamatus de Sungore. Or take Sanji to them, Gomla, the comban in a home Jabaina, and she said to them be paint the top to go this. Tatana Jingi, home Jabala Teni, Louis Xinjiang, Tambo, Sam Xinjiang to go, and it teaches Louis Xinjiang to go. Louis Xinjiang Telatini, Louis Xinjiang Deva, and it takes so Louis Xinjiang Deva Telatini, same Xinjiang Deva to Zuma, could imagine a topping Gora. They told you Louis Xinjiang, same Xinjiang Deva to top Tobati, and a home yeni, Negavi, Keben, Zena, the Pendoti or this, or Tana Tela so big, that indicate Tachi Keben Mambuji. That Tene that Tardu Goban, that I go to Japanese in Sanji Goban, Tovala home Yonaman, that Martha would Chadigora, or take a Tardu Sanji Goban to the go Tardu in the bush.
The benefit of doing meditation, such as able to have a mindfulness following of the Buddha. Generally, for the beginners, when they do meditation, in the advice of early, lamas, they always emphasize on for the object of the observation, to focus on Buddha statue. Buddha statue, which is kind of appropriate size, suitable for your meditation. Little kind of heavy, not light, like a paper. It kind of has a negative impact. So you visualize little heavy, appropriate size, and focus on such a statue or image of Buddha when you do that, then through the meditation practice, you gain familiarity with Buddha's, kind of image, and through the image, Buddha's qualities of body, speech, and mind. And such familiarity is very significant, especially at the time of dying, at the time of dying. And consciousness at the time of dying makes a big difference in terms of where you would take a rebirth. So at the time of dying, because of your kind of familiarity throughout your life, this mindfulness of the image of Buddha becomes natural in your mind to kind of reflect and come up. And so with that kind of the final moment of consciousness, able to being mindfulness of Buddha's image and follow the Buddha's body's speech and mind's quality. Used to say that there is a 90% kind of certainty of taking a higher rebirth, either in a human or a celestial realm. And so this the one benefit of meditation, focusing on Buddha's image, and also along with that, attaining of serviceability of body and mind. In other words, pliancy, mental pliancy. With the mental pliancy attaining, first and then later physical pliancy, and then bliss of the mental pliancy, bliss of physical, so one can attain such kind of features or qualifications. And the ultimate objective, of course, of meditation is, the attaining of Buddhahood.
Tanda kyangwar mochige chadab dina la miyul yugomla chidang nangi yulche rigni yus te sunda. Ta gom yadu la mazu miba desa de la miba chila teba chidang nangla te tene gom ya gomda ni yore te sungu yore. Ta miba chila tena gom de yaba yina miba chila te miba zawigi chila miba desa de la ta miba kani doji teba na kebar 요마데 이마이나 양다 산지 군다도 된데 람미바이나 아니 도저히 칼로르다 야가 옆에 조저거라다 데 다키부 담바데 데슨 거래 산지 미발을 때는 야가 요래선 거래 지다 안에 소소 강라 미바 간디다지 뭐좀 다 소소 강라다지 메바체요 곰 곰리체요 때라 내야래 곰 야바부 소소 라니기 다 레담보와 아니 토망 지 원가 곰 야마뇽겐 소로 딘디도 지가자데 셰고요래 페낭 아란도 보지 다 담보 곰 야구요나 원 야마뇽제 아니 토마 곰라 자야로 다 로장기 임바이나 다 미바데니 지르 좀바이나 되가자데 셰고래 남균 소소 곰라 곰디 곰바 여야 되긴도 곰야 내가 알아 손대긴 임바이나도 칸다 대도 임바이나 나마스 당부기 자외기 미바소로 가리종 요바나 다가나 되잖아 디요레 수거 다 미바 칠라 때바디까지 시도나다 나나가서 지내기까지 돼 셰고래 다 지내다 라통선에 에 말에다 지내다 라통까지 된 거래 다래 칠라 때바다 나라 때바제디 야면은 제곰난 조금 돼야 되가 된 거래 네 미바 칠라 때바디게 조금 돼 숭고래 다 미바 나라 때바디게 다 제곰 돼서 무슨 거 있어래 숭고 있어래 다 미바 칠라 때바 데라스 다 미바 칠라 때는 샘테 텐도 다 자니 요글 베바코 지지기 때 미바 지기 때도 샘데 네버 제발라 네야 데라 네야기 미바데 당이 공도 주진 베체 다 The tempo genene to ya the language in so carry ungo reason that and a jingo need the thing get like ungo reason. The India Savigim Tambu mi but the carry mi ba carry zungu yavana mi zungu mi but and tangi going to Jubanajin. That's also like those Machevana that put jiggy swinches out of Tindiki. 소소는 푸지기 치료도지 토벤제바이나 푸지기 토제도지 하장기 마보 만기냐 하장기 토다바드니 만기 덴데기 체질라다 미바드니지 좀야되지 다 미바델라다 마 샘테 인도라다 데 샘지기 된 미바데 된도 샘데 네 버자랑게 지겐 조데 레당보가 토마 곰자겐 조다비면은 조조 게 지겐데 가리 용거래잖아 고바디 용거래서 고바당이 다자위기 곰랑게 제겐데라 숨조르비시 숨고요래 진화당 고바당 연화전이 다 숨용거래 다 되는게 조전미도 다 강달 진거니들의 진화당 고바니들의 나 진화당 고바니기 나네 네 진화대 양 레당보 당보 토마 곰자겐데라 진위기 게이셔지 지구요 말에 진화 레구요 말에 쓰고 때 가래잖아 진화대 곰야네야 아침부터 마서나 가루마 손에 삼배나 삼단 당부 니바 숨바즈네 마 곰용도라 삼단 당부 무지 톱 니비 무지 톱네다 숨비 무지 가둘라다 다 진외긴 게 제야데 삼단 숨비 무지 라 게제겐데 진화대 저거 용거래서 다 단당 하나 저거 레 당부 받다 곰 토마 약간 소르비지메나 다 삼단 담배녀도 조르비 차대요. 삼단 병녀도라. 조르비. 되네 삼단 담배 무지도. 되니 니비 무지도네. 담배 무지도 니비 무지도 다 돼서 지라기 남에 가자시고래. 감 고마라 시월타와당 감 고마라네 라버타리 대원에 공자단지 숨고래. 삼소기에 제공다로 다 될라 지와 고바니기나네 다 고바세운도라 고베기 고바제데 간디질라 자규어에 고바전에 간디지 레제 다 거기 공원도 도스마 주베이나 아니 고바데 조 가레잖아 율리 조 이도 율리 이동와질라 미네 초에 넘바 진지레 스코 로 초에 넘바 진지인도라 군제 지메 오모 군제 자야자 바꾸팅 니바데 군제 지메 오모기 다 네 삼수기 공자당이 돼 배제지어래 되게나라 아래 송두잖아 미바 이동와라 남바 마지징 실로라는 초르제겐 지네라 파르도 주변 더차기 차도 봐서 다 고바 임반에 인지미진 더차기 차도 진거래서 율 이동와미 또 율 이동와미 베더니 연구에서 고바제 다 강다 샘데 미바테 된돈 네발라 네바주갈라네 베고 아주 섬리지기 되는 당바이네 양세지 샘데 신비 된돈 도샤지 용도 어디 라고바즈고 다 샘치로도 토르제바 강다 미바 샘데 네 미바테 된돈 네마조잖아 양 미바 신비 된돈 봐 표동인지 이 로지라 다 고바즈 고고비 모도 어디자 자기 들어와
그 권내지로도 계시가서 미보 이동 월미
미바 이동와라 남바 마지징스
원래
실토르 제바스
it's
젤리 코기 젤리 가래잖아 지네라 파르도 제바 파르도 제바 아니 더차기 차도 더차기 제르도 버지레스
In the book, His Holiness talks about, when doing meditation, the object of observation or where you should be focusing your mind. So he talks about external and internal. Generally, when doing meditation, whatever object of observation that you have chosen, it's really up to one's own choice and one's own kind of, one's own familiarity. Whatever that you feel is most comfortable, most easy, suitable to you, you can choose that. But however, as we said earlier, the early spiritual teacher says that if you choose Buddha's statue, that would be more beneficial, more beneficial, more virtuous, many benefits, and especially for the beginners, it's good to good to have object of observation for the object of observation Buddha's image, and beginners like you're saying, like himself. But however, people who are quite familiar and quite good practice meditation, they can kind of stick on to whatever that they think is most beneficial for their practice. And the external focus under that, we can talk about calm abiding, as well as special insight, or analytical and meditational placement. About the hindrances, obstacles, the primary obstacles. Primary two obstacles are, as we said earlier, mental dullness and agitation, or excitement. And so when you do meditation, just the object of observation in terms of the length from yourself, about 4 feet, and height appropriate to your kind of sitting posture, and for the beginners, the hindrance, it is always mental agitation or excitement, not dullness. Again, in general, when we talk about hindrances, we talk about additional to mental dullness and agitation. There's also mental distraction. But two primary ones are dullness and agitation. And for the beginners, mental dullness or laxity does not become primary kind of obstacles. It arises much, much later in the practice of meditation, when practitioners reach quite high level of stages, such as first actual level of concentration, and then second, and then third concentration level. Now the primary obstacle becomes mental dullness or laxity. But for the beginners, mental agitation or excitement, and the nature of mental agitation or excitement is aiming mind at the a distracted mind by an attractive object, distracting from where you want to focus your mind upon. So Geshe was quoting this from a text by Tenzin, who is the second reincarnation of Khechok. In his text, Concentration and Form, he kind of explains or defines mental agitation or excitement as aiming at the attractive or appealing object. The nature of such mind is disturbed and destructive to external object, which is a part of attachment. And what it does in terms of function is it kind of distracts, doing calm abiding meditation. So these are the kind of the features of or identification of mental agitation or mental excitement.
다 진리기 다 외바되기 고게 다 샘디 미바치기 텐도 네 마주가 지나 바치로 율라 초월 제바데 거기 자와다마서나 젤레데 자들 고 토주고 그래서 다제 고용할 된 거야라 가르치고 요래서나 다 샘디마 샘기 슈도마서나 템 도즈마 담보 미베든도 네데바데 또 도즈마 가르다 슈 충으로 당거마 충루도 다 샘기 가슈도 마서나 띵 가슈디 도즈마 충루더니 샘 도즈 줌도 당거래서 this one. Da weapon goyala. Weapon goya tapsitilla. And semi bala then Koyawa the young do Yabana. Tambo mi bala semi bit into ne de sagi, sending our shoot the Tozuma, shoot chulu time. The weapon goya tires. Tapte, tablam. Dinala the Carson Shazana. Migden to Tenja Yongjun Gaken Dan Tenja Tini Yor check and the Goba the engines. Chidani Junate Troins. Ten Gobar, Sem Nandu do Yude, Shuk Sem Nandu do Yude, Shuk Chiru Tongo las. They Sem Chirol do Yunzi Mingarshuk, Chung Tongores. What there is Sem Chirol Marshu Churu Tongores. The Semgin Marshu data, Churu Tongores. Kote Wabangoy teacher. That Jinwa Shendola, Jinwa Zavi, Le Dambo, that Toma Gom Yabakatula, Jinwagi, Nyangati, Jiwa Yangati, Halam maybe sort of Jire, Yomare Sigore, Yungu Yomare, Imba Inata, Jinwi Mo Karjagordana, Ego, Tana did what she did. That day, twas at it, and that Jingo Nigan and the twas at it, he gave me Luma and some Pajata, Mego inside. Migo Jang, Migo, go Karazan, Dojaki Chato Indo. Dojaki Chato into Migo Modo.
Gobalague.
Oba.
Not him.
Obati. The Migo Modo, a Gawatan thing or give it a Luma the young with somebody. Chiwala Karazan, chewing or give it Gawatan Luma the Niga young to word. The into Gabati teaching. The Chiwati Karazan, Gawa Gombe, Semi Sangar Jumbe, Semju Nangi Yawati, Chiwitz to Chiwa. Zevati Kandishla Jagorizana, go gave Semji Womyundola, goes Semji Salgar Jumbis. That Mibat Hajangi Salfut Bate de Picadu de la, that a G. Miba semi bit in the best Salvogin and Nate de Cadula. That they could shoot down to us. Calicale, Semdima, me bit in the ma duyung. Do the genetic Jula Pedma, Miba Misawa Chando Yadam. Yamanaji Nasi Mazon Ped Misawa Chando. That then a man does dozana, but ni lay on Dodo, that indigita, could Jimmy Chelit, teach you it. Sem Jumjuet. Sending our shoe churu that. Taima in Jiwayo, the Shevujita, Tana Dilla Jiwa, Kola, Tarachi, or Jiwa Nibutala, Ji Tawadan Rabin, Kajamabuji Chego, that Jiwayo Dilla, Yondola, touching Mumas in the Kangal, Jiwa, Samsama, Mibas Shivoji, Salvo, Mibas Sabugala, Semibisa, Tendopet, Tembujin in Dede Yovana, Jiwa Yongu, I can Hamagola, Tuzuma. 다 지휘권 주야 대용고래서 답변은 아주 단다 디지도 미미세 건데기 미세 비샤베나 미세 비디베가도 비샤베나 람상 필로 지로 율레 사바나 율레 람상 나 사바지 무동아 당게 미세 건데바네 사부디 통미도바 차도도 데더버레스 그 지휘기디 현주 연유한테 연용다저거라 영용단다고데 어다 단다디 아젠티나도 차비디 솔리징이지 공어디버지 단다디버지 두상소 당원버지 디송도 옴 게드올라 둘라 식바지 말아서 옴 게사긴 둔다다달라 식바지 바르도 제사요 바이나 되게 가르치고 그래서 바이나 아니 오거바 영화라 견지고 오거바 영화라 고 펜도버스 고바 영화라 바르도 주고래 대 진화 영화라 에네 그 견체여 진화 영 레벨레버스 시비 바르도 주셔버나 람상 곰야겐들라 어떻게 저도 진화대 람상 고마 샘중도에게 저와대 대지고 있어요 다 거기 진화대 ngorgyube 네 개와당 로마대 니가 여바지 네 진화대 단다 레셈라 미바 개위sem 대당 총련도 냠도 있다 연구요래.
티베트 가서 뭐게 여러분 저 곰들 찍어랑 바지는 거봐 가서 뭐지
단다디 그랑디 난도 지라가 가지.
찍어 바지는 꼭
도수가 디도디 쇼당 자든 좀 되는 거도 와.
저 요말 인신 쇼랑 가가
안에
갈수 없는
계란소자 미셸 경건스 미셸
뭔데
마르퓨 가바스 로 살로 믿음이 견제되 거바 요인인가 주마다 지와 요인인가 지와 여바 도난 중송함 시발라 카데데 데바 당제 카마데버 데바니지 발라 제발 요메 도난 중송함 시발라 카데네 데나 데캅 거바당 토와 용유인가 중와 여바 계란소 시기레스 어디래
맞아요. Mental agitation or excitement, as explained earlier, what it does is, its kind of function is it doesn't let you concentrate. Basically, distract two objects that you are attached, that is appealing, and therefore kind of distracted two external object that is beautiful, appealing, attractive, and two kind of the antidote or the method to kind of bring down, that kind of agitation is one needs to lower the intensity of the the mind itself, or the hyperactiveness of the mind. You need to lower that hyperactivity of the mind, and to make mind say diminish its kind of intensity or hyperactivity. Meaning that when you bring down that kind of hyperactivity of the mind, you are bringing your mind rather more within the mind itself, instead of letting it go out and just do what you want. So kind of bring mind inside within, and with that kind of focusing mind more inside, or bringing my concentration more inside, it kind of helps mind distracting hyperactivity kind of externally. This mental agitation or excitement is always it's always kind of non-virtuous. There's no neutral or virtue kind of excitement or agitation. However, when talking about mental dullness, laxity, there is both virtuous as well as neutral mind. It's much subtler. And so for the beginners, there's probably no risk of mental laxity or dullness. So in mental laxity or dullness, now what's happening in terms of the nature of the mind itself is it becomes too kind of the intensity is too low. Now you need to increase that, although you are trying to concentrate on the object, whatever that you have chosen, when you are having the impact or obstacles of mental dullness or laxity, the object becomes sort of blurry, murkiness. There's falling of little kind of darkness, and one then falls into sleep. Takes to sleepiness. And in the book, he's always mentioned example of the sort of if you are wearing glasses regularly, and suddenly if you take it off, when you look out, the things are not clearly as it is when you're wearing glass. That is the effect of how mental dullness kind of creeps in your concentration, the effect. And then he also talks about, suddenly in meditation, if you kind of, if you bring like a wall in front of you, it helps, mental agitation and distraction it helps diminishing, because kind of blocking your view or your kind of distraction of your mind. And for mental dullness and laxity, there is a dullness which kind of goes along with the virtuous state of mind. So it could be virtuous, and sometimes meditators, practitioners, for them it becomes hard to recognize when mental laxity or dullness kind of arises, and they stays on that kind of state for quite a long time. Yes, we'll take a break here then.
Yeah, that home jagan kansa ki home de abuji yawala karigu yore zabana laja da mazana ne thinking ki cho ni le tengu yore se eka re zabaitana ta temba da shijini le tene ta home de semi pe tendu 가전 조조도 배 네토야다 아니 대야 미바 마냐바 마살와 마히바네 미바 사베도는 바 네토 제발라 템바다 시진이데 고 라자다 마서는 되게 대차되어 다 지도올라나 다 베기 라마데서 그배 렌딩올라 빅 두슬랭고레 베나 나가마 별로 임바나티 바로 당아서 대상기 세리기 조직이 로당 덴디기도 요마르와 때문에 그 가르도다 주마르다 야마나 체미 얼어서 덴디라 때니 되고 요르와 대지도는 빼들라 나 베네식비 관계 리모지 타고 요바이나 아니 주마르다네 베 주마 살부지고 그래서 주마 살부시데 메바이나 리모디 지마지진 통도고 말이 직 다 주마 살부지고 그래서 대야 롱 메바치네 롱이 두스마 롱 슈치 뭐 여바나 주마데 롱 yap샤네 야 리모디 살부 통도고 말이스 제가 리모 시비강게 리모 살부지 통할 제발라 고야데 가르잖아 롱 메바 롱 야베 메베 내가 치다 아니 주마데야 아니 주마 지 살부 메바 마네메니나 통도고 말이 주마 살부 딘디지고 그래서 딘디지 니 초바이나 아니 시비강게 리모데 다 살부지네 사두고 그래 하고 고두고 셰두고 그래서 다 나가나진 게야 니지 가르고 니지 디베잖아도 근데 미지기 신지 신동지 제거나 신제야 신동의 제야 될라 가르고 오여라서는 미지 당보 안에 신제도는 다 다리기 두면 다리촌이 제거라 다리촌이 제도는 라바 템부지고 그래서 라바 템부지 다리대 안에 추사기 신데 그 지제기 된도 당보다 니바 숨바강가 아니 지제기 된도 포모트바이나 신데 다리 가서 쉬바이나 그 신제 너무 당투고 말아 지도나 그 지제기 된도 당보시 니바지 숨바지만 쉬는 잡긴 더바이나 바로 절라다리 신데 너무 당투고 그래 되게 돼 라바 템부지고 그래서 다 라바 템부 여바더니 되고 말았어 근데 미코라라 슈 전부지고 자위게 라바들라다 나르슈 라비기 슈 전부 거래서 라비 슈 매바이나 다리 싱글 가서 슈바나 고 싱제도 말아 다리 싱라 야해던지 뭐도 싱라디 고 가서다 마투니 로투고 말았어 어때 내진게네 딘디니 고바 내진기다 Dembata Shiji would Dembig, semi bit and one a Tembuji need to be to go Yavata, and then Shiji Miba Denepe Salfogine, Miba Miba Kainte, Salfogine, Jatu to that Dembata Shiji Cheles and Amido, they didn't.
In order to have a effective or productive meditation, as a kind of tools that one is needed or a method, one needs mindfulness and introspection. These two, the two kind of example or metaphor that was used in the text. The first one is, when, of course, in ancient time, when you want to look clearly the images on the mural, one has to have a lamp and a clay lamp, and then second, there shouldn't be any kind of wind or movement of the air that kind of disturbs that stability of the lamp. So clear lamp and absence of kind of wind, and those two are needed in order to see clearly the paintings or images on the mural. And with these two, then one will be able to see clearly. The second example, say a man cutting a tree with an axe, and the first one, one needs the stable, hand or shoulder, because when cutting a tree, one needs to hit at the same kind of target or portion where one needs to be cutting, repeatedly hitting at the same place. So stable shoulder, and that alone is not sufficient. One also needs a strong kind of arm or hand that kind of continuously work until to cut that wood into two pieces. So likewise, mindfulness helps kind of stability of the stability part, and introspection helps kind of clarity. So therefore, these two function, stability and clarity of the mind in doing meditation.
어떻게 된다? 디지털 and the Jushabanati Delta way or those learning Chimanala digital. And Karina, the Umani movie Tigitane, Pedinison, Penal the Lanzan Shindu Matology, Tuar Jebala, the Tuliala Taxi Karicin to Kalatan to Tulu as the pages on your Karizabana and a caution to temperature water, some of Pedala. In a Kawayana and a Shindon to the call Lamsan Reach or the Lodge of the Nimewa, caution to Tempojila and a Tabatea Chata La Sobagin Nandadu Kantar, Tabak Lamsanji Che Jojo, the chair make your Dinichi Lanjan de Kawadingala, Yawajin and Damni, that Lanzi Sanamento Lanjan Tunia, Lanjan Lobjon Tinia Kaza Tegi, and then Kola Lobjon Lanj Lobjon Teni, who that embanajin Majibaina, and a Yubagitus Maj. Shugi Chinitus Lanjan Nitus Matulguyores. Or the Tula Najin and a Maranzugi, that home Jagan Kaza good, take it. Home Tambo Janya Kaza, take it, and a send the Lanjan La Pejan. Send the Lanjan La Peja, bro. Then Shindong Yana Kawas would they any Miba La Peja, Yuli Miba Karizungu, Miba de La Peja. Then the Damiaki Tabajiro, Damiaki Tabati, and Domegi Taba the temple patient. Temple patient. Any that launching to Ganza, the launching Lazatema Najin Machivaina, Sugar, Shuyagi, Yubati, a Shijin la patient. That Shijin la patient into Suma Sungurita, Home Yagan Ganza, the same me bit and to ne to do the Mindu, maybe then need to do the middle, neighborty, maybe then to Salpo Young to the middle, maybe then the neighborty, Tembache, and neighborty, nature Salpo Yume and Tela and Jingo, you can do the middle, Taja Jagende, and Shijin la patient. Temba the Shijin la patient, those ma Sungur, the Kare Womaningbo in by year, Dakarina, Jung Jambaji. Dani to learning to Manatinichi. To your Imbasonza, Tembada, Shiji Nipotegi, which Jawa Karichigo Zana, send me betendo, Tembo net Tubia, and Tembuta, and Salvo Mibal Tendo Miba Salvo Young do Mido, Tela and Epe, Jigo Jikan Jugu. Le jugudo mindu te chara chegen madu chapa chegen shijin ji chara chege chene chene ene shijin ji chara chege ngo ji ken jugudo na lamsang ene semla that ene shijin ji semla that ene temple that ene te mibale chodo do mibi tu temple yong mi du se temple that te la yang jor sem mibi tu ba chu ku ne mibi tu dan never chia de ta temple shijin om jagen gi yababu kanza gi ta Laja the Masona, home Yabuji Yola, Temba the Shijin did, so they could jelly the Chadi or yes.
In the text, great treatises on the stages of path, Lamrim Chemo. There is a quote from probably the essence of middle way text, and also Tsongkhapa use a metaphor to explain introspection and mindfulness. In kind of taming or training a wild elephant, one has to have a stable pillar or tree to tie that elephant. And to tie that elephant to the tree or pillar, one has to have a strong either a rope or a chain, to tie that elephant. And then the trainer use a kind of a spike, either metal or wood, to kind of tame or train elephant. And likewise in meditation practice, the metaphor that was presented here is one's mind is like an elephant, and the object of the observation that one needs to kind of focus is like a pillar or a tree, and then mindfulness is like a rope that tie mind to the object of the observation, and the introspection is like a spike that used to kind of tame or control elephant when it's not kind of responding or listening. So therefore, the function of these two, as said earlier, mindfulness, brings stability of the mind, able to keep mind single-pointedly on one, object of the observation. Whether your mind is, staying on the object of observation or not, it is, sort of watched or spied by introspection. The introspection kind of checks whether mind is going under the influence of mental agitation or, dullness. And if there is a distraction, it immediately sort of informs to mindfulness, and mindfulness then brings mind back to where it should be focusing. So therefore, the practice of meditation, these are the two sort of primary instruments that they use in practice of meditation to bring sort of concentration or single-pointedness of the mind.
Otigita 데니지지로 더 템바다 시신이지 다 네긴 단 조금 자기 조금 잡게 돌았다 조금 당보 잡아라 당보 안에 배치 곰 잡아베 간사 간디지 개조 간디 그거 요매 네 야제 튕겐 가리고 요매 다 튕겐들라 치유리 튕겐다 난기 쉐베기 튕겐 자네 미다도 순거래 더 치유리 튕겐 전에 지양 곰 당보 잡게 이바나 칼로다 가고 심보자다 보다 아니 조응하고 뒤쪽에 전에 조응하고 저러고 딘디게 다 개प्र만 보셔보지요래 간다 아니 루긴도 다 자잖아 루나나게 주된 렌즈는 가상 망아서 주든 바테다 대소래 손산 단 조금 기타 뭐다면 사람이도 고된 사람이도 조금 잡당기 돈이 단 돌리도 그러지 트렌디도 좀 주든 바치 아니 치유리 미발한테는 곰 잡다잖아 치유리 미발한테는 곰 잡다 데디치래 난 시베든도 곰 잡다도 좀 주변에 단다 경우를 찾을때나니 시베든도 곰 잡다 미바에는 미바 생기든도 좋네 다 제바제단데가 시고래 제 당게 곰들라 제곰난 조금니 라 예와체니다 제곰이가 자데 시고래 저 제곰 제도라 그 제바 제단기 제루데 가리스 제와 제거거든 미바 그런 난게 샘이 소속이 샘이 있는데도 가사신기 샘이 만난 단도 아니 간살 시베 남자질라 미 미소존에 샘이 남자한테 샘 강기 된도도 아니 리기 된도에 요나 야 소리 된도에 안에진 나가제지로 다시대 치료를 좀 해나 다시대로부터 미 소속이 미미다 이금선 데이터네 된다에 미디 강라 따니도 아니 그런 다샤교지 레드게 그런 이때 코예라 레드도 되게 두스마 제가 제단지 원진다서 와라 당한 원진다 난 원진야 돼 맞저기 류기 된도도 소외 된도도 시비 생기던도 두스마 제가 제단도 송거래 제자 인반산 대 제공 조단들에 어떤이 지기 되면도
Additional to that, in doing meditation, what are the other kind of factors and conditions that is needed? For example, under that comes, external factors and conditions, likewise internal, and how to maintain physical postures, which we talked in earlier classes about physical postures of Buddha Parutana, or 7 physical postures. And in this book, His Holiness talks about this next part, focusing the mind inside, the object of observation within. And this comes primarily under from the 2 types of meditation, analytical meditation. And so the object of observation is here not something external, but something that is within, some kind of like a form of consciousness, could be one's own mind or consciousness of others. And investigating and finding where mind or consciousness is mind within or on body, or is it on or with feelings. And usually when we use kind of a designation or name or label of a person like Tashi, then where is Tashi on that person, kind of investigating such nature of identifying who or what self is. So all of this comes under analytical meditation. So with that, we will consider done with a brief introduction to meditation.
다음에 제대 강도도 좋고 때는 소속이 시베된도 다 나서도지나 아니 나자데 내기 배낭님인 개조제 다베데 개조제데 에 나라 고요래 그저 배배는 나라 고요래 나자데 수레 내기 로본데도래 아니 내기 샘데데 샘데야 레고요 말에 개조제 로본데야 레고요 말에 임바이나야 대조강가 나자데랑 샘데랑 아니 로본데조강가 파주 강가 대원이 여되니 보다 지금 조본라 나자 존나 말라 나자 존데 되고 여번 여래 아나징기 딱 내기 샘 마샘 나부 미 칼로 나미 샘 나부지레 샤제도 자자바나 양 샘데 나당 주도 로서 여되니 되니 소속이 나랑 쪽이다 소속이 녀이기 돈이다 줍되게 여버지로 당하미 장보지레 샤제도 다네 징기 보다 제디 나랑 샘이야 로컬 여되니 나제디 다 샘데야 자사메되니 보다 조보데야 네 조보데야 나도 자사메되니 안다 오 민당달라테니 나제디 맞아 빠샤비 때는 매대봐야 많이게 연이 여되게 단 잘린도에나 야 자사 지지기 등도 자바는 지 디레즈니 단연 누구도서 매대니 제가 민달레테니 따샤비 단예디 다 조다데레 다 소소 노르드나 소소소기다 샘 문제야 제홈제도라 다 소소기 샘 당부 샘데 문진고와 샘 문진 비테니 텔라 콤디제고와 다 콤디제바 텔라테니 다두스마 사주다 람갈라 서베진 바테다 공네 공도 펠니 타르상기고요 지그레 되어라 인도라다 방달 제 곰단 조금니까 존델도 지니 전조 펠마 지니 그지마 곰기 두고 여바나 도바이나다 넘버 상기비 좀니 다 상기제데 토규여 되지 어디 숨겨res 되게 다 드린기 다 곰기 대만연자기 곰기 어떤 데는 도르디 저르지 또 마시 좀 받지 다가만 이슈 대신도 그렇게는
On the analytical meditation, in earlier, we had one topic on self and selflessness. And the way one does investigation or analysis is pretty much same. When we talk about self and selflessness, we need to ask who or what is self and who and what is selflessness. And in investigation, Geshe was using his own name as a Khechok. Khechok is his name, and when we use this label, it represents him. It is him. But when you try to find that name on him, is it his body or is it his mind? Neither of them is Khechok. And however, there's a connection between his body and his mind, and connection in the sense that when his body gets sick, he says that I'm sick, and when with body, but in terms of the mind, whether there is a positive, good or negative mind, hatred, then we express as if saying that I have a bad intention, as if kind of mind and I is two separate things. Bad intent. But so when you say kind of as if these are two something separate, then is where can you pose it? I on the mind. You kind of you're saying that I is sort of something different, and so something that these are something we are talking from our own kind of experience. How we feel and how we connect with body and mind. So therefore, without conceptual labeling and the designation or the sound that we use, I or self is unfindable, and however, it doesn't mean that I or self doesn't exist. It does, and it does, what it should be doing. But if you try to find on particular basis where this I or self is, it's unfindable. And therefore, usually we end up saying that, I or self is merely designation, merely label. And so in brief, in this kind of practice of meditation, analytical meditation, one needs to kind of investigate, analyze the nature of the mind itself, how to identify mind. And once you get more familiar with the understanding of the nature of the mind or consciousness, then one can gradually kind of, sort of move upwards, and develop the understanding, and then kind of goes through the attaining of what we call 10 grounds and 5 paths, and eventually, attaining of the Buddhahood. And so, so in Buddhism, it is important to have, analytical and meditation of placement in combination, the practice, and eventually kind of, able to attain one's ultimate objective of Buddhahood. So with that, there was brief, introduction, and we'll stop here. And if you have any questions, you can ask.
Right question. Can Geshe suggest a meditation practice that is especially useful before going to sleep at night, so you can continue practicing during your sleep?
남긴 tela injiminji yawaze kayamani ni la pemba kare yore zabina ana ngazuge manye kongla ngazuge gewe chawaji la samlutamba yina samlutani ni kobena sanyi juga nam maseji bardu ni maseji bardu ta tütete yonzo ko gewe gi cholandu sun doyagi kombati chigores ro ta ni koyala misigi ni koyala gom yabzana ta 당에 가서 그 지화가 왜 되다 니 지금 니 먹고 니 먹고 요한테 가르치 지고 그래서나 샘 7월 돈다민다 토용도 한다 야만은 남도 샘나라 지금 남도 돈다민다 망부지 샤리용 그도 샤리용도 한다 니 먹고 봐대 남도 어때서 그 지고 그래 샘 7월 6일 돈다민다도 좀 토용도 한다 야니 먹고 지고 그래 다 때 미용와라 샘데바 두야들에 샘 7월 6일 남도 대술레마 두스마 두니 다 샘 줌버 제바이나 이 지위기 제레데 차디어레 샘 두스마 두기 지다 미바지기 던도 담보 남도 담민다 망보차치 율 망벌라 초대버네 마 두기 지니 고 율지기 던도 자디 율지기 던도 ambo salvo yabane de kale rim yugo migba de ma dugi chene do shabana ko ta baru jila pe miba tene ko moving or mugba si ora ta moving or do shadala ko rai ni de rising to sma lebe ya chago ore de ta ni khurang gewe gi ni ta ni la chida ege me gi luma den sunga yore do gewe ni ta me gi ni luma ten ni jene 니 권한테 개맥이 숨긴 건 줘요. 송자 코 개비 니긴 건 줘야지 줘야라. 코 개비기 자와지 개비기 개조라 뭐 삼로 가래 되시다 봐이나. 텐도스 두고래. 다나신 가족이 단다 제공 단당 가란 쪽에 제바 제약이 낭이 미바 낭이 샘라 때네 ene 제공 제발라 인지미지 당게 조금 내진기 다 류기 개조당 대조강 참고하게 하면 냐는데네 그 제공 지초고 오다 지 소속이 다 나자다 나자데 가wan도 때 뭔지야 샘기 남자 뭔지야 다나신 사기 연단 고송도 연단도 조강가 지 템벌지야 다나신 사주도 남가라서 봐 대조기 다 토림 다 토단 토로 ngо다 제레다 대조강 토라 삼라담 바이나 고 티냐르 되네 그 삼라담 초거와 니마 가져 영어 버도 때 삼라담네 니 럽사나 생이 주 니마 세게 버도 고 뒤저대 용서도 고 계획이 니라 누워 다 되네지 미게 조지라 야면은 지 도자당 컨트롤러서 배고 원도 손에 샘티게 원도 손에 따지 삼로다면다 코니 대바이나 니데 미게 졸로도 수두거래 다 된데게 삼로 개고지마 다지 삼유된 유가 그지 개고지 매바진도 니르도나 때니데 고 루마데 니니 차대요 고 개웨 니 차고 말 미게 니 차고 간단 남자 운동 아주 니지 구데베가도라 니데 야마나 개웨 쫄라 차고 야마네 미게 쫄라 야마나 루마데 때니 대송보 가로지 쫄라 차고 이나 망차도 아주 가와도 거잖아 야마나 미게 쫄 야마나 루마데 쫄도 때니 가로지나라 망차데 윤련도 쫄대요
Yes, there is, and but here generally it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be meditation. It really depends on before going into sleep, intentionally generating virtuous or positive state of mind, and with that you can turn entire sleep into virtuous or positive. But if you're asking about meditation that helps you to go to sleep, and then it will be kind of meditating on mental dullness or mental laxity that we talked earlier. And the reason we are not able to kind of go into sleep is because of too many conceptual thoughts arising in our mind, and too many kind of distractions external, and mind is not able to kind of sort of come within as it should be. So here intentionally then one needs to kind of sort of internalize, bring mind inward. If it is distracting on many different things, you need to kind of bring it inside. And then still kind of bringing insight, and if there's still kind of clarity, if you have images clear in your mind, sort of diminishing that clarity gradually, and basically, then you are transforming sort of state of your mind clarity into more murkiness, more kind of darkness, and that will kind of makes sleep kind of turns into sleep, and sleep itself usually we kind of comes in can be virtuous, non-virtuous, neutral, can be any of these three. And so it depends when you go into bed. If you kind of go into sleep with a strong generation of positive or virtuous state of mind, you can turn entire sleep into virtuous one. And here, one doesn't need to be sort of, even if in a meditation mode, it doesn't have to be like a meditation of calm abiding or placement, maintaining those physical postures. You can just lie down and then keep your mind kind of in a meditative state, which means meditation of analytical meditation. You just lie down, and then analyze, such as we talked before, the nature of self or I or consciousness, or contemplate on the Buddha's body, speech, and mind qualities. Or you can contemplate on 10 bhumis, 10 grounds, 5 paths, what does they do, their function, all of this can be done analytically when you are, lying down and sleeping. And so if you fall into sleep in that kind of mode of thought, then entire sleep is, considered as a virtuous. And likewise, on the other hand, if you go to bed with strong anger, hatred, any kind of, negative, then entire sleep could transform into negative. And on the other hand, if you go into sleep without any particular kind of thought, uh, your sleep would be neutral. So of course, we, has to sleep every day, and the most of the case, our sleep would be either non-virtuous or kind of neutral.
I don't want to waste time with neutral sleep.
Mhm.
Or non-virtuous.
That's good.
So, the suggestion is helpful to just do that positive analytical meditation afterward. So thank you, Geshe.
Just a follow-up question, like you mentioned selflessness meditation, almost like we're doing a loving kindness meditation before you fall asleep have the same effect.
Rồi như mọi người đã có rồi những gì đó这生活上他那心你的也会受住了。
지와지야네.
Yeah.
니지 돌아서면 당바이나 나 니지 곰바이나 니마 공을 니지 곰는 데바이나 인지 미지 있다는 것 아주 곰자데 디 류나마게 추들렌제네 다곰 야근 가자기 다디 디체고라 다 추들렌제네 다 개발돼 시고라 그래서 조금 차단다 그거 완도 제니 순거 말이야. 다 지찬이 다 곰 잡 대비 맞아. 잡 대비 완도 제바는 다 두스마 저분 대 콜라 야 산지 좀 된데 사마이 공라다 로드 가와제는 곰 점be 가둘라다 유당의 남바데 순거래 대라양 투무마이베 거란 천된다 네 류기 차이 유당당 대소 건가를 천된다 거봐 보다 대미다 소선이 요르면도 냐른데는 니제 공바이나 민디버게요 말에 장주기 섬 공바이나 민디버게요 말에 다가는 요건이 세대가라 영어로지 양내양도 다 갈로 딘디지 숨도 하와이 마이나 네 요걸 남상 야마 맞아니 니 세바당 남상 아니 장주기 섬 투삼식이요스 તે કરે છે મને ngaranzo le tambo te zu imbaina tamsa ni sebada ane samlo kare zo tanga zo ta dring ma she ya bo ju ya dring ma she ya ji sunbe ne gap ji chung song te ga wa go me ji da dring ni man di na la nge ji yenbe ni jaw kyang jang jin du yin sambe ku long de ni ji ker바이나 니마데게 저와 가데데 제바이나 지 개위 졸런도야기 고 탈람데 요데레스 도다니레 자원니데 가족이 저와 가데 제바이나 도미 굴롱데 개침보임바다 주기 모아데니 다 개침보는 지다 고 바르기 저와 무지제 연구하데 무지 다가도 고 카파줄 가유 줄기 제요데스 고 개위 chola gyure megi chola gyure yore chesan thote thome kunlong dan jugi ngwa ni de ge chola chebaina ko pargi chawa mege waji chebaina te ge chola do suma gyur to ya yore siwa indio la ko nyeri kola ko kare ko mena te khabar ke yo om chogor.
So yes, one can also think or do meditation on loving kindness or compassion, going to bed, before going to bed or in bed. And usually when we talk about maintaining 7 physical postures, it has its own meaning, significance, purposes. And we talk, that with the images that we usually have of Buddha, when attaining enlightenment, 6 kind of years in So he maintained that, physical postures. And going to bed and while in bed you can contemplate or think about compassion, bodhicitta, and yeah, one can do that, and this can, as said earlier, help entire kind of sleep in turning into positive. And His Holiness also kind of talks often about immediately after getting up in the morning, the first thing in the morning, he talks about the first thing that he does is think of bodhicitta. That's what he does as soon as he wakes up. But for the beginners, just first thing that we woke up, we can contemplate on, rejoicing, that we have whole another new day, and that I'm going to spend this day for benefiting others. And with that kind of positive thought, one can then have, remaining day sort of influenced by such intention. And we usually talk about, mind training practice, two chores, one at the end, one at the beginning, one at the end. And the beginning, it's always going to be cultivating, strong intention, motivation. And that's important at the beginning, at the end. And however, the actual thing that we does is in between, the actual whatever we do in between, but whatever we do in between can be sort of diverted, into positive or negative, either at the beginning or at the end. So yes, one can do that.
Yeah, they cover it.
Sure.
Gore jingam su pendam dewa male jungwe ne chere zingwa tenzin gyazo yin shabe side bado tengyuro je jamba ba chidra kemba da kondo sangbo deyan de je de da kongye je so da lo jing gyawa de da tamje ra do tezumo shabe gyawa tamje ge mo wa kan lo chobo ma bo den da jing ge sawa de kun gya sambo chenche rabdo ngowara ge chanjo chanjo rembo che ma ge banam ge gyo je gyawa nyamba me bara yang kone hondo be war sho tonye tawa rembo che ma ge banam ge gyo je gyawa nyamba me bara yang kone hondo be war sho.
In the land encircled by snow-white mountains, the source of all happiness and benefit, goes in your person, generously Tenzin, he also remained until samsara ends. Just as the Bodhisattva Manjushri attained omniscience and Samandava to do. So now I dedicate these merits to train and follow in their footsteps. As all the victorious Buddhas of the past, present, and future praise dedication is supreme, so now I too dedicate these sources of my merits for all means to perfect good actions. May the supreme jewel Bodhicitta, the head has a, and may that which is ever but diminish, bring this more and more. May the supreme jewel Bodhicitta,
there is not a reason and grow. And may that which has risen not diminish, but increase more and more. Thank you.
thank you.